Hi, class. I want to talk a few minutes about enzymes. And enzymes are um, really, really important when it comes to chemical bonds. Now, you might remember early on in the semester we talked about metabolism, and metabolism is to the creation of or the breaking apart of chemical bonds. So you're using energy, like um, in the form of electrons, to store energy or to release energy. And so with that in mind, I want you to remember that there are two different types of metabolism. First is anabolism, and anabolism is all about creating chemical bonds, putting two bonds together. And then catabolism is about breaking chemical bonds. So releasing that energy, you're breaking the chemical bonds. And enzymes facilitate the breaking of those chemical bonds and the releasing of that energy. So in order to understand enzymes, you have to understand that we have things that are bonded together. We have molecules that are bonded together. We call those substrates, sometimes also called reactants, and they need to be busted apart in order for us to either utilize the energy or to utilize the products of the molecules that are put together. And so what happens is these molecules come up to an enzyme, and the enzyme have what they call an active site. An active site puts a little bit of stress on the chemical bond by changing its structure ever so slightly when the substrate fits into place. And that little bit of stress, kind of think of it like a stick. If you have a stick and you're trying to break it, and it's really hard to break, and you can't do it by yourself. So what might you do? You might put it up against your knee. Here's a stick. You put it up against your knee and you put a little force on it. That effort of putting it up against your knee gives you a little bit of leverage to break that enzyme in half. And so that's what enzymes do. They assist in the breaking of those chemical bonds in order for a chemical reactions to take place. And as a result, they speed things up really fast. They speed up chemical reactions really fast. I'm going down here. So let's look at it this way. We have energy on the y-axis over here, and we have the chemical reaction along the bottom. So this would be the time of the chemical reaction. The reactant, or the substrate in our previous slide, has potential energy stored in it. There's energy to be released. However, it can't go down to this, which is the end result, the products, without going over this energy hump here, this energy hump. And a good way to think of this is like striking a match. A log will not burn unless you have already supplied some energy to push it over the edge so that it will release all that energy that's stored in a log of wood and burn up and provide you with heat. So that lighting a match would be like going up, pushing the log up over the top of this and allowing that energy to be released. Now, not all things that have stored energy can easily release that energy. Sometimes this activation, what we call activation energy, that's the red arrow here, is too high for things to naturally release that energy. Okay, it doesn't. It's just too hard to push the reactants up over the top of this thing in order for that energy to be released. For instance, why do we, when we walk down the street, not spontaneously combust into a zillion pieces? We have stored energy in our cells, okay? There's stored energy that could be released, but why don't we just spontaneously combust? And that's because of this activation energy is too high for that to occur. Now, an enzyme acts as a it reduces this activation energy. So just like I said, when you're trying to break a stick, you put a little pressure on it with your knee in order to break that stick, the enzyme kind of acts like that, reducing that activation energy so that it requires less of an input. By doing so, you speed up the rate at which this reaction can occur. And so that's what enzymes do. They reduce the activation energy, they increase the rate at which chemical reactions can occur, and therefore help your body carry out all the different reactions. And many of these reactions are taking place in milliseconds, so super, super, super quick as a result of enzymes. So that's what an enzyme is. I hope that's helpful. If you don't know what an enzyme is, there is some really cool videos on YouTube. Let me show you really quickly. If you go to YouTube and just type in enzyme, and this is one of my favorite videos right here. It's Enzymes Updated by Amoeba Sisters. That's a really good one too. Also, Enzymes by Bozeman Science. This guy's pretty good at describing a few of those things. He goes into a little bit more depth, so I don't want you to get confused, but both of those videos are pretty good. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.